Okay, so yesterday we learned the real formula for slope. Slope is represented by the letter m, so that's why we have m equals. And then our formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And yesterday we talked about the importance of labeling each number to match the variables, so we know exactly what numbers we need to be plugging into the equation, right? So off to the side I'm going to write m equals, and then I'm going to write my bar like that, and the minus sign's right there, so I don't forget that there's subtraction problems. So then, AJ, what number goes right here? And then 7, that's right. Because this is y2, and this is y1. So I plugged y2 in, and then y1 went there. And then what goes on the bottom?
6.
Perfect. And we don't have any of that tough stuff with the negatives beside the minus signs. So it's a easy subtraction problem, right? What's 11 minus 7? 4, thank you. And 6 minus 3? So our slope is 4 over 3. All right, that's it. Who wants to help me with the next one?
My prediction of the next answer is going to be 2.
Can you walk me through it?
I'm just making a prediction.
A prediction? Is it a prediction because you did it and you know?
Nah, I know the answer, but I'm not just going to do it. So,
okay.
So, if it's 2, I get extra candy at the.
I don't think so. Not if you can't help me walk through it.
Wait, hold on. How did you get the two X on the bottom of those?
These.
You just had a 1 X on the other side.
So these numbers that I put beside the variables,
Yeah.
it's just to tell us which coordinate pair we're working with. So this says 1, so it's the first pair. This says 2, so it's the second pair.
So how did y'all get the 11 over there? What did y'all do?
So because y2 comes first, I found the y2 variable, which is 11, and I plugged it in right there.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
I know it's probably pretty complicated looking if you missed yesterday's lesson, but I know, yeah. So it's just, once you know what variables are what, and you know your equation, which you should always know your equation because it's written right there for you and it's in your notes, it's pretty simple. You see what's what, and then you plug it in, and you all know how to subtract,
so
right?
There will always be this little M thing in the corner of our worksheet.
That's your slope equation.
All right, well,
It's not like, let's say you go to take a quiz over this camera, and that equation is not on the quiz. Where do you think you can find that equation?
Notes.
Yep.
We did notes yesterday?
Yep.
Can I get the notes?
Yes. I'll get it to you after the opener.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to try to plug in these numbers?
Let me try these.
Okay.
It's going to be 2, positive 2, positive 8, it's going to be positive 5, and positive 9.
Nice. Yep.
But see, how did you get a 0?
Where?
How did you get not a 0, the minus?
So that's part of the equation.
Oh.
So when you first write when you set it up, you're going to write m equals and then the fraction bar and the minus signs before you even know what numbers to put in.
Okay. I get it.
Cool. Okay. So what's 2 minus 8?
It's negative.
Negative 6. So I'm going to put that here. And what is 5 minus 9?
No, negative 4.
Negative 4. Now, we can never have a negative on the bottom, right?
Why come you can't? Why come you can't?
Because when we're working with slope, Well, you can't just in general. That's not simplified. But specifically when you're working with slope, you remember the rise over run.
Mhm.
So when it's a negative on the top, it's telling you that you go down 6.
Mhm.
But you graph from left to right, so you always have to go right for that slope.
Okay.
So you can't do left 4. You have to go right. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's going to become 6 over 4, but that's not simplified, right? What number goes into both 6 and 4? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2. 6 divided by 2? 4 divided by 2? Perfect. So our slope is positive 3 over 2.
I don't like that way. It's much better.
It's a lot to keep track of, but it's not hard, you know. Like 2 minus 8, you can figure that out real fast with your calculator if you can't do it in your head. And it's simple. Simplifying is easy, right?
Nope.
No? Dividing 6 by 2, that's not hard. You guys answered it awfully fast for it to be hard. So on the last one, let's go ahead and label our variables again. And then always make sure to write out the equation with the blanks for the numbers. Make sure you get those minus signs in there so you don't forget we're subtracting. Kyle, do you want to help me? No? Cody? Danielle? Okay, awesome. What goes on the top?
1,
Mm-hmm.
Cody is a smart guy's name.
and then -3,
Negative 3. Okay, and on the bottom?
then 2, then 12.
Nice. So this gets a little complicated here. Alex and Kaylon. Did anyone else miss yesterday? You were here. You were here. Kelly wasn't here. That was it. Okay. Kelly, Kaylon, and Alex. So when you see a minus sign next to a negative sign, it's going to become a plus sign. It's going to be an addition problem.
What type of math is this? Oh my goodness.
So I'm going to circle both. Yep, it changes to a plus sign. It's kind of like when you divide a negative by a negative, it becomes a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Or you multiply a negative by a negative, it becomes a positive. It's a similar idea. Just
I had just erased one of the negative lines and just filled it in.
okay, that works too. As long as you can remember what it is. Yes. Can you what?
I want to cash this in.
Can I wait till after
Right now you might catch that.
after that? Okay. So what's
Supposed to be 4.
1 plus 3 is 4? Yep.
It's supposed to be negative 10, but you can't have a negative on the bottom.
That's right. So what do we do?
So you're gonna turn it's gonna be a positive.
Because there's only one negative and not both like we had up here, you can just move that negative up to the top.
For real?
Yep.
So I ain't gonna do it that way?
No, you still do. Because 4 over 10 isn't simplified, right? What number goes into both of those? 2. Still easy. It's just a lot of steps. So it's going to be, I'm going to write it down here, negative 2 over 5. You can't see that.
Got it.
Negative 2 over 5. Whoa. And that's your slope. Can you remember that even though you can't see it? Negative 2 over 5.
No. Wait, no, 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't turn it in yet. We've got a backside. Okay. Now I know that you guys know how to do this.
I
Right?
already got it.
You want to do it for me? Tell me what to write.
-5, 0, -4, y equals 20.
Nice. So, real quick, I'm going to tell them what you did. Mike, because x equals 0, Mike plugged 0 in for the x here, right? And I'm going to circle.
It's the y-intercept.
I'm about
Right.
to show you that.
So we're solving for y, but x equals 0. So when you're looking for the y-intercept, you have to set
Scratch this
0,
out.
x equal to 0. So
And
I'm gonna
20 divided by -4 is going to be -5. So 0, comma, -5. And that's going to be a y.
Okay, give me just a second. 0, -5. Okay. So then because we're getting y by itself, Mike divided both sides by -4. 20 divided by -4 is -5. Y equals -5, and then he plugged the -5 in for y.
The way you say -5 is kind of pretty funny.
How do I say it?
-5.
-5?
Yeah. Alright, -5.
Real quick, I'm going to write up at the top y equals 0. Because for one, you get points on that on your quizzes. Or points taken off if you don't do that, at least on the last quiz. And it just helps you remember it, okay? Alright, go ahead.
-5.
You say it the same way.
X. -4, 0, equals 20. Now scratch this out, and 20 divided by -5 is going to be -4, comma, 0.
All right, thank you.
And now the graph is...
Okay, just a second. Does everyone understand what he did there? We've had a lot of practice with that, right?
And
I forgot to circle the variable. Okay, go ahead.
for this, it's going to be...
Start at the origin.
Yeah, this origin, I keep forgetting that. Go down, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
And now for the x-intercept, it's going to be the origin, -4, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice.
And you draw your line.
All right, good job using the right language on everything, too. Thank you. Okay, and then when we graph the line, we're going to make it go all the way. We're not done yet. Don't pass it in yet. We're going to go all the way across, right? Got our arrows. Make sure you're using your straight edge, because you're going to miss points if you don't use your straight edge. And then we have one more thing to do. It says m equals at the bottom. So we have to figure out our slope. So we can either figure out the slope by using the fancy new slope formula that we know, or we can just do that easy rise over run that we were doing 2 days ago. Okay? So which way do you want to do it? Rise over run. I think that sounds faster and easier. And now the first step in using the rise over run, we have to find the lattice points. But since we already have plotted points, we know that that's where the vertical, horizontal, and the graphed line intersect, right? So I'm just going to use these 2 points. What is my rise?
5.
Okay, but it's a -5, right? Okay, and we can always know...
Sorry, good morning, Alexis.
Good morning.
Fernandez?
Alex.
Oh, Alex.
They call it 70s dancer.
I'm sorry, Alex, my bad. Alex Hernandez. Thank you.
Now you gotta do a dance move walking out.
Yeah, do the
Make
moonwalk.
his day, make his day.
Oh.
No, not feeling it.
Okay, so we can always know that it's a negative slope because just like we read words left to right, we're reading a line left to right. And when you look at that line left to right, it's going down. So we know it's a negative automatically, okay? So we went down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what's our run?
-4.
Positive 4,
Yeah.
because there can't be a negative on the bottom. So
Just messing with you.
I'm going to write that over here so you can see it better, but you need to write it after the equal sign, okay? So m equals -5/4, and that's our slope. Okay? So we could have used that formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, because we have the coordinate pairs, right? But when we have the graph already in front of us, that's a lot faster. Just do rise over run, and it's probably easier. There's fewer chances for you to make a mistake in simplifying or remembering the negatives, where they go, and everything like that. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we're gonna have a quiz over slope on Monday.
I'm doing it right now too.
So this is a good time to ask questions. Quiz on Monday, but we'll have an opener on Monday as well. That's what Daisha said. Okay, go ahead and pass them up, and to Kaylon, please.